afternoon, good morning, good night, wherever you live. This is Pink Sock Podcast. I am Mike Usenick, and I'm joined by a very special guest of Rogue Royale. We have Collin Gibbs. Last time he was on here, he was with a different band, but then there was an issue, pun intended. And now you're Rogue Royale, and I love your Fu Manchu.
Well, thank you very much.
Like, you have a lovely Fu Manchu mustache going on there.
I was combing it up before I called in here, and I'm trying to grow the full beard underneath here.
Uh-huh.
It's starting to make the Fu Manchu look a little short.
Yeah, it is. You need to like trim that up. You need to keep the Fu Manchu. You need to make it a little longer.
Well, yeah.
Like you're looking kind of like Mr. Miyagi.
Well, I feel like Mr. Miyagi too some days.
Did you do the Fu Manchu on purpose, or did it just happen?
I did it as a joke like 2 or 3 years ago, and then it just kind of stuck. I wore it to a show, and they were like, "Yeah, you're not shaving." And I was like, "All right." So it got to the point where I like printed a vector image of it, put it on my kick drum head and everything, and
That's your look. That's your look.
Yeah, it's a trademark now. So
Isn't that a band name, Fu Manchu? I was going to say
it might be.
You could have named your band that, but I think that's also already a name of one.
Do they tour with like Primus or?
Yeah, I think it is one of his bands. Les Claypool has a lot of them, actually.
Yeah, yeah.
You think Maynard James Keenan has a lot? Look at Les Claypool's library, bro. That guy had, what was it? Les Claypool's Flying Frog Brigade, Les Claypool and the Bucket of Bernie Brains, Les Claypool. I forget what the other ones are. He has a lot of them.
A bunch of them. Well, if you got the time.
Have you ever listened to Claypool Lennon Delirium?
No, I haven't.
It's him and John Lennon's son have a band together.
Oh, that's cool.
And it's called the Lennon Claypool Delirium. It sounds like what would happen
if that out.
It sounds like what would happen if Primus's lead singer was John Lennon.
Huh. That's interesting.
Yeah, it's very wild because Sean has a very similar vocal register than John.
Mm-hmm.
Speaking of, did you see the Beatles have a #1 song right now that was just released?
No, I didn't. From the vault or what?
Yeah, what happened was they found an old George Harrison guitar solo and riff, and then they found John Lennon isolated vocals, and then Paul and Ringo kind of had their own stuff they wrote on.
Whoa.
It's just technically a Beatles song.
That's crazy. I'll have to check that out too. You're going to keep me busy after this.
Every time you come on here, I keep people
I know, you give me a list of shit to do.
And it's only been fucking 4 minutes. What the hell? But like, it's crazy that like the Beatles have a #1 song out right now. The Rolling Stones just released an album. What year is
it? It doesn't feel like 2023.
No, fucking doesn't. There's a break in the Matrix.
Mm-hmm.
And what's crazy is around the era when all of these bands would have been releasing music, there was also a pandemic.
Really? Which one would that been?
During Woodstock, there was a pandemic. I believe it was, I forget what it was called, but I know a lot of people call the current pandemic the Chinese flu or whatever because it came from China. Back then, it was some flu from Hong Kong.
Okay.
I forget the name of it, but they call it like the Hong Kong flu or whatever. But yeah.
So history is just repeating itself left and right, huh?
Yeah, even with bands. What the fuck? Like, what the fuck?
It's wild.
The Stones are out on tour. Alice Cooper's on tour scaring parents. So what's going on in the world of Collin Gibbs? You got this new band. Well, it's kind of an old band because you just changed names.
Yeah.
What's going on with that?
So a lot of exciting stuff, I suppose. We've got Fly From Here just dropped at the end of last month. That was actually a rewrite of a tune that we had on the Issues First EP.
Mm-hmm.
And then in the last year or so, the Issue added a new guitarist. His name is Monty. He kicks ass. And in the process of releasing as well, our other guitar player, Collin, moved on to other projects. So still a good buddy, nothing, controversial or whatever there, but just a lot of change and kind of morphosis happening with the band as we're getting this stuff ready to drop. So new single coming out on 11/24, and that is a brand new song called Now or Never. We wrote that with John Mahan, is part of our management group, formerly of Blackstone Cherry, and we went and spent a week with him down in Kentucky in January. So that was kind of where that song started, and we're stoked to release it.
Blackstone Cherry is an incredible group, so I cannot wait to hear it.
Yeah.
Very talented guy.
Yeah, it's awesome working with them, man. It's kind of crazy actually. I mean, they were one of my favorite rock groups growing up. And one time they were playing a venue near a Buckle location that I was working at, and the singer Chris came in, and I was like, "Hey man, how you doing?" Didn't want nothing to do with me. Turned around and walked out. Probably went back to the tour bus or whatever. I honestly don't blame him. And then the guitar player came in, and it was a very similar in and out. And I was like, "Fuck! Like I know these guys. I'm stoked." And then John came in and had a little bit more time, I suppose, and he must have forgot a T-shirt or something because he bought a T-shirt from me. But it's been kind of surreal, like working with him, thinking back to like that day and going to the show that
So
night.
that
And
day, though, did you have the Fu Manchu?
no, I didn't have anything going on.
That's why they want to mess.
shaven.
That's why they want to mess with you now, because you got the chew.
It's the power of the facial hair, man. It's a real
Yeah.
thing.
Yeah, it's a when I changed my facial hair, dude, it was wild.
Yeah, yeah.
My issue is though is I shave and I have a 5 o'clock shadow by noon. Like that's just how fast. That's just how fast my fucking hair grows, bro.
That's funny.
Yeah,
I wish I had that problem. I'm kind of like I'm trying to commit to this beard thing. I got a couple patchy spots, and
I'll
people are
trade
like,
you.
You just got to keep going, keep going. I'm like, all right.
I'll trade you, dude, because I'll shave. Like you see this beard I got going on. I had it shaved. You saw my porn stash I had.
Oh yeah,
I had that, and then like not even a week later, I had a full beard again, and it's like
that's nuts.
I'm like, what the fuck? Like, stop.
Well, we'll negotiate that trade afterwards because I'd take a full beard, man.
We can negotiate that trade because I'd love to be able to like trim it up and leave it that way for a while. Because I'm lazy when it comes to shaving. I don't want to fucking have to shave every day.
Yeah, that's why I'm trying to grow this thing out. I'm sick of maintaining the Fu Manchu, to be honest with you.
It's good though. You should braid it.
I've been told to do that too. I think it's got to be a little bit longer to braid.
Yeah, have a braid.
But like we're getting there. I mean, I suppose you could get a decent chunk out of that.
No, I don't mean braid the two pieces. Braid them separately.
Oh, braid them together.
Yeah, have a braided Fu Manchu.
Huh.
Have a Fu Man braid.
I'll have to talk to the old lady after this, see how her braiding skills are.
I was gonna say asking for permission. You don't need to do that.
No. She knows whose face this is.
You're like, she knows who this belongs to.
Yep.
So since we last spoke, though, something exciting happened in the state of Ohio. Did you see?
I did. It actually just happened in Minnesota as well.
Fuck yeah! High five.
Virtual high five. Hell yeah!
High five.
I'm stoked, man.
We did it.
So, what's it like down there? Like, did they have like dispensaries like ready to roll? And
it doesn't take effect until December 7th.
Okay.
So right now it is still illegal to combust cannabis, and it's still illegal to have it if you're not a medical patient. Now, once it passes, though, our congressmen have like 10 days since the day that we voted to change it. So change the law, which is fucking shitty.
Yeah, that's scary.
They want to take home grow off, from my understanding, and up the tax. We do not have any dispensaries ready, so we might not have any till next year anyway.
Yeah, we're waiting until I guess 2025. So they passed it, and August 1st, we went legal. I think you can have like 4 plants starting, and then 4 plants like in flower per person in a household. But they don't have like the whatever Office of Cannabis Management set up yet. So they're like going through that whole process over the next year, and then I think early 2025 is what I read when we can actually expect like legit dispensaries.
We're looking at. Oh, you disappeared, brother. Let me see if I can bring him back and back on, because it might just be that. There you are. We're back.
Yep, sorry. I'm gonna do something real quick,
You're good.
just to avoid that. I think this happened last time too.
What happened?
Oh, my freaking app for my day job
Oh, you're
wasn't
good.
turned off.
So we are looking at 6 plants per house, per person, 12 per household is what we're looking at. Now, here's what a lot of congressmen don't understand that is against home grow. They're saying, well, that is allowing sale on the streets. No, it isn't. Because when you grow, that's not guaranteeing that all 6 plants will make it through harvest.
Yeah. Yo, totally.
You're lucky if 1 plant makes it through harvest with 6.
And it's also not cheap to set up a grow space. Like I've looked into it, and like you got to have a tent, you got to have ventilation, you got to have yada yada yada.
And what's crazy is they want it to be passed by December 7th, yet they don't want home grow. Then how's that going to work if we're not going to have a dispensary by September of next year?
So you have a piece of paper that says we can do something that we can't actually do. Great. Thanks, guys.
Yeah. Like I can do it because I'm a medical patient, but this ain't for me. This is for rec people. So, like, I don't know. We do have dispensaries. We just don't have any that's ready for rec that I know of.
Okay. Yeah, and we have up here, like, they sell at, like, Delta 9 and stuff like that,
We have that too.
which I don't really know how I feel about that.
Well, Delta 9 is a very interesting subject because Delta 9 is dispensary weed. That's dispensary THC.
What?
Yeah. The reason
what's why, like the hemp derived? Sorry, you might be getting into it.
Hemp derived means they take a hemp plant, then they take the THC in a chemical form in a spray bottle and they spray it onto the plant. So basically, they're taking a chemical that was already in the plant and putting it onto a plant that doesn't have it, if that makes any sense.
That's crazy. So they're wasting time and money when they could just be selling us the real thing.
Yes, because the government, technically it is illegal to distribute a plant that is grown that way.
Dude, reefer madness, man.
Isn't that fucking weird?
Dude, that's so goofy. I've always wondered, like, oh, hemp derived, because hemp and cannabis are the same plant essentially.
But technically it's different. Hemp doesn't have THC in it.
Okay.
So they're adding the THC to it. Hemp is pretty much, the best way to describe it is hemp is a great product for outside grow and for making t-shirts and shit out of. The reason why I say outside grow is because hemp and cannabis, hemp sucks all the toxins out of the air and soil. So it's very good for the environment if you have hemp outside and you have the cannabis you want to smoke and stuff inside in a very non-polluted area. Because whatever you're smoking, you're putting that into your lungs and your body. You don't want outside grown if you're in a polluted area.
That makes sense.
So hemp is really good for outside grow, and once it's grown, you can make plants. You can make like shirts and shit out of it, and like
paper and
People don't realize the same shit you can make out of trees, you can make out of hemp, and hemp grows 10 times faster, and you can grow more of it.
It's so goofy. I've been hooked since what was it, that documentary, The Union or whatever, that Joe Rogan was in, like way back in the day.
Yeah.
It's a wild subject, man.
I love it, and I'm actually on a THC cannabis themed radio station now called WTHC Radio. You should check out.
Yeah, I will for sure.
If you ever want to come on and just talk cannabis, we do that. We talk about everything on there, but we will talk about cannabis too, of course, because it's WTHC Radio. It's a 24/7 radio station. I have my own morning show coming up, and I also have a show on Saturdays on there. So check it out.
Yeah, I definitely will. That sounds like fun.
So, do you guys have any shows that you want to promote or anything like that?
Nothing crazy right now. We've been, so busy just getting the album ready and shooting some music videos and such. We do play December 23rd if you're in the central Minnesota area at the Next Door Bar and Grill. That's kind of our stomping grounds. That's one of the first places that I played with the guys when we were running with the issue back in like 17, 18. And then January 4th or 5th, I'm sorry, January 5th, Friday night, if you are in the Twin Cities area, we're playing in St. Paul at the White Rock Lounge. It's a new venue, like right across the street from the Saints Stadium in Lower Town, St. Paul. So if you're near either of those, check them out. Come party with us. We're going to do a lot of new stuff both nights. Kind of get that ready for taking it on the road this summer, hopefully.
So any like word on when you want the album to come out, or are you just taking your time on it?
We do have, let's see, the whole schedule I just don't have off the top of my head because it's morphed so many times and whatnot. But I believe in the beginning of the new year, we're going to drop the album. There will be a single with it. I don't know if that single is going to go to radio or not. And then we have a third single that we'll put out after the album is out in February.
Well,
But
for anyone who has been on the show, any music that you want to played, I will give to WTHC Radio and they will play it.
oh, dude, I will send you some what's best CDs or Dropbox links or
MP3s is the best.
okay.
As long as we also need written consent to play the music because it's going to be on the radio.
Yep. And is
And
that just as easy as writing a letter that says
yeah, just saying you
Road
have
Royal
a
says
you have a right.
WTHC?
Yeah, and then you can
Okay.
play our music on WTHC Radio and just sign it. If there's anything else that we need, I'll let you know.
Okay.
That is going to be played live. It's not on radio, but it's on Live 365 app.
Right on.
And tune in.
Cool. Okay.
Where it's available. You can listen to all the shows on there. There are a couple that's only available on Facebook and YouTube, but
okay. Yeah.
But yeah, that's where our show's going to be. That's where I'm moving to because Pink Sock is taking a hiatus after today.
Oh, really?
We have one more episode that's going to premiere next week, and then we're going to be going on a hiatus.
Yeah. What's the purpose behind it, if you care to share?
Gorak is busy with Ghouls Gone Wild, his own little show, and then I'm going to be busy with WTHC Radio, and I figured now would be the time for us to just take a break so we're not oversaturating ourselves and burning ourselves out.
Totally. That's never a good thing.
And I chose that WTHC Radio, focusing on that is the better goal right now because it's getting me out there more and it's helping them out as well as myself.
Mm-hmm.
And I feel like this is something I've always wanted to do, so I'm going to do it.
Yeah, definitely.
Because my goal has always been to do radio. Mm-hmm. I've always wanted to do radio. It is fun for me, so I figured I might as well give it a shot.
Yeah, absolutely.
Because like I grew up watching like Howard Stern and shit, and that's just what I want to do.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm a little nervous that it's a cannabis themed one because that might turn off a lot of musicians and shit from showing up. But I don't know why, because weed and music go hand in hand.
I was gonna say, I feel like I've met far more musicians who partake than not.
A lot of the big name ones are afraid to admit it, though.
Yeah, well, that's always, maybe someday if we ever make a hit song, I'll be forced to think differently about it. But I just think it's so goofy. Like the world is changing so much, and
you don't have to think differently. Look at like Snoop Dogg and shit.
Yeah, he's got a blunt roller on salary.
He does. Could you imagine having that job?
Oh man, no, I couldn't. I mean, it'd be a dream come true, just smoking with Snoop all day.
Let me ask you a cannabis trivia question. See if you can guess it right.
Oh boy. Okay.
Do you want multiple choice or do you want to just have to guess?
Let's hear the question first.
Which famous actor applied for the Snoop Dogg blunt rolling position and didn't get it?
I think I've heard this, so let's get some multiple choice going.
Some multiple choice?
Yep.
Okay. Matthew McConaughey, A. B. Seth Rogen. Or C. Cheech Marin.
I'm gonna go with B.
Seth Rogen. You're correct.
I think I read it in his book actually. He put out a book of like 10 or 12, like little memoirs, life lessons and stuff. I think that was part of it.
He was going to get the job and actually retire from acting.
Wouldn't have blamed him.
I wouldn't have blamed him, but could you imagine being Snoop Dogg's blunt roller? Because that man, do you want to guess how many blunts he smokes a day?
Oh, it's an insane amount. I know I've heard him say it.
They said like 600. No, you got to think though. That's not what Snoop himself is personally smoking though. He always
No.
smokes in circles with people, and you got to think of the blunts that he only smokes a little bit of and hands to somebody else.
Yep.
So personally, he's probably smoking about 100 of them a day.
Yeah. Which is still fucking plenty.
It's fucking plenty.
Yeah.
Now I will say the biggest blunt I ever smoked was with a friend of mine. He's a hip hop artist. He's pretty popular. His name's Muck Sticky. I don't know if you've heard of him or not.
Okay. I haven't.
He's a friend of WTHC Radio, but a friend of mine, Billy Blaze, rolled this son of a bitch. This thing was 6 foot long. He measured it. It was a 6 foot rose petal blunt.
How thick? I mean, regular blunt size, an inch thick.
It was a thicker blunt.
Yeah.
The issue was we couldn't get it to pull, so it had to be in 6 1-foot sections. We ended up cutting it in half. We had to. But that's still a long ass. I was smoking a piece about that long. Like it was still pretty fucking long.
I mean, how did you guys weigh it?
We didn't. Not as far as I know, we didn't weigh it.
Okay.
But Billy showed up with it in one piece though, and that's pretty fucking wild.
That is insane.
So
6 foot.
So do you plan on growing in Minnesota?
Yeah, eventually. I'm also like, I'm kind of wondering. I've joined a few like home grower groups or whatever on Facebook just to kind of check it out. And I'm like the kind of guy who likes to do something 100%, you know, like have the best stuff, you know, put a little bit of money behind it because you get what you pay for. That isn't necessarily possible as far as growing would go right now. So I'm kind of wondering if I should just like try it kind of raw and just see what happens. I mean, it can't hurt. Throw it at the wall, see if it sticks.
Just get a small little grow tent or something. You don't have to get anything huge.
Yeah. And I think I have a buddy who said he had a light I could borrow, which would be pretty sweet. The other issue, though, is in our place, we don't have any room like on our main living space to do that. And in the basement, there's only one power outlet, which has the washer and our chest freezer plugged into. So I'd have to figure out how to rig power over to where I
The only thing I've been told that sucks is the electric bill does tend to get a bit high when you're.
I'm sure it does.
When you're growing.
Yeah.
Because you're trying to replicate the atmosphere that the cannabis grows, and certain strains grow under certain weather, certain conditions. I don't know if you're aware of that or not, but there's like millions of different strains of cannabis, and certain ones grow under certain conditions and certain heats and stuff and all that fun stuff and certain humidity and and it's wild. And also you got to be very careful with the plant. You have to have fresh soil every single time because, like I said, it sucks the fucking whatever out of it,
pollutants, toxins. Yeah,
and you don't want that going into your lungs or however you're consuming it. Which I would grow my own just to make my own oil.
That's a good theory too.
You can make your own cannabis oil, your own edibles, like everything.
Get a hair straightener, some sort of heat press or something.
Yeah. Well, the way that you do it is you take alcohol, like 100% alcohol or 90% alcohol or whatever, and you soak the buds, and it sucks the THC out of it, and then you strain that out of the buds itself, and then you put that in a rice cooker and you boil the alcohol out, and you end up with a really thick oil.
Okay.
And that's what you use.
So could you, in theory, this is a little grungy maybe, and sorry to cut you off, but like
You're
when you're
good.
cleaning a piece, like I just soak them in 90% alcohol or whatever.
Yeah.
Could you, in theory, do that with that alcohol after you cleaned a piece?
In theory, yes. As long as it is 90% alcohol.
Yeah, yeah.
You'd have to look further into it because it's not rubbing alcohol. I forget what kind of alcohol it is they use.
Yeah, I buy like the 90% isopropyl alcohol or
Yeah,
whatever.
you'd want to use like an actual, like, you can drink kind of alcohol, like 90% that.
Oh, like Everclear or
Like
something.
Everclear, yeah.
Okay, gotcha.
And boil that out.
I don't clean my pieces in Everclear, but
You
might be a
can.
fun experiment.
I'm
Yeah.
not a drinker, but yeah, you do. A lot of your like tinctures and stuff is done using alcohol.
hmm
Nowadays they use oil base. But
Okay.
that's how they get what's called RSO. I'm not sure if you're familiar with RSO. It is a cancer patient. It's called liquid gold for some people.
Oh, actually, I am, and it's not gold. It's actually black
It's black,
in
but they
like a
call it,
syringe.
yeah, they call it liquid gold, but it's black. It's in a syringe. It's very strong, very
hmm
fucking strong. It's pure THC concentrate,
Yep.
and it kills cancer cells, is what it's known to do.
Yep. I actually have had the misfortune of a good buddy who went through that, but the fortune of being good enough buddies with him for him to share it with me while we were hanging out.
Did it help his cancer?
Unfortunately not, but his was like it was like
Or,
stage 4 all over
see,
type of a situation.
there was this guy I know. He goes and helps people by giving them RSO. He has cured hundreds of people's cancer using the RSO treatments,
hmm
including his own.
That's crazy.
Unfortunately, it's not guaranteed for some, and some people don't even get a hold of real RSO because there's so much misunderstanding out there with RSO.
hmm
Um, but pure RSO will, in most cases, not all, but in most cases, will help kill cancer. And
That's wild.
it's because our body has something called an endocannabinoid system. Our body is meant to take in cannabis
hmm
as medicine. We have the CB1 and CB2 receptors. The CB1 receptors is neurological. It's all the brain waves and all that shit. The CB2 is physical. It's like all of your pains and shit and stuff like that.
Yep.
And it's whether or not CBD oil affects the CB1 receptors, while THC does this. No, THC is the CB1 receptors. I think that's why you get the high effect.
Yeah. Yep.
And CBD affects the CB2 receptors, where THC affects both, I think.
Okay.
And CBD actually, if you get way too medicated, if you do a CBD dropper, it'll actually bring the high down because it counteracts this THC.
Oh, that's interesting. I didn't know that.
That's why THC percentage doesn't necessarily matter with cannabis. It has a lot to do with the what they call terpenes, which is the flavonoids of the
hmm
cannabis, but it also has a lot to do with the effect of the cannabis as well. And so does CBD. The CBD percentage, if you get a strain, and this is where THC is a lot of a misinformation, is they're like, oh, I want a 30% THC. That 30% might not do as much as a 15 if there's too much CBD in it.
Yeah.
So there's that too. You got to take
That's
into
funny.
effect. I didn't know
Yeah.
this. I didn't know this would be a cannabis educational program, but here we are.
I didn't either, but I don't mind it.
I've never been into the grow side of things. That's a new thing to me.
No. Yeah, I've got since it became legal, I've had a family member who started uh with the growing, and it's going well for them. I think it's really cool to see, like I've never seen an actual marijuana plant or cannabis plant um in person while it's growing. I've only seen the end product, so I would be really stoked to get into that
It's
that
neat to watch.
yeah.
Well, if you want to learn things, cannabis and stuff, WTHC Radio, you can go on your phone. It's a Live 365 is the name of the app. Just type in
Okay.
WTHC. It's audio, but you can actually do video too on YouTube and stuff. They're a very great
Like
program
stream
for,
it straight through. That's
yeah.
cool.
Yeah, they have a show that is on at noon, Monday through Friday, called Chronicles with Dr. High and the Hippie. It's literally a hippie puppet. It's a little puppet that we talk to, and
Okay.
he's the guy that created all of this. I also talk to him on Mondays through Fridays, starting December 3rd at 8 a.m. till noon, and then we have Saturday's show Utopia with him at noon.
Cool.
It's cool as fuck. And yeah, you should check it out, dude. I think it would help you learn a lot more.
Yeah, definitely. I would love to check that out.
Like, it would be fucking awesome. Hi, Facebook user. I'm not sure exactly who that is because it doesn't tell me who people are on Facebook for some reason. I have the hustle going strong. I have a lot of shit going on. Like, a lot of shit going
You
on.
got to
You have to.
keep yourself moving, man.
What up, Tim? My buddy Tim Oaksley over at Wrath of the Fallen. Go check them out. If you ever want to do shows in the Pittsburgh area, I got a lot of friends that play in Pittsburgh.
Hell yeah. Okay. Well, we are. I mean, once we drop this album, we're hoping to get it on the road. I mean, that's kind of the second half of it. That you either got the product or the tour, and trying to get them both together is pretty chaotic sometimes. So, once we get out that way, worst case, we'll get together and have a hang, man.
What up, Kate motherfucking Savage? And if you need a comedian opening for you, I do stand-up comedy.
Perfect.
What
Sounds good.
what is your question for my buddy Collin over here? He plays drums for the band Rogue Royale. So if you have any questions regarding drums, music, anything, just go ahead and ask. The chat is open and the chat is ready. I am
Yes.
sorry, we have like Facebook users galore. So if I don't know who it is asking, I apologize. If you can at least put like a little dash with your name, that'd be cool with your comments. But yeah, what is your question? We will ask. So Collin, when did you start playing drums though? I don't think I asked you any music questions since I've known you.
Yeah. So that would have been, I was 9 years old, so 2002.
Damn, bro.
So I'm starting to get pretty heavy on the playing longer than I haven't.
Damn, bro. That is
Yeah.
crazy.
That's pretty nuts to think about. I'm getting old.
Yeah, it's okay. It's okay to be old, dude.
Yep.
I'm getting old. Like it's a part of life. But I think
Yeah, you can't stop it.
we both look good for our ages though.
I would agree with you.
How old are you, brother, if you don't mind me asking? I forget.
30 years. 30
30
years
years.
young.
I'm 31.
Okay.
Kate says hish. All right. What? Oh, hush. Tim Oaksley says, what was your favorite band or bands that inspired your career in music?
Okay. So this is kind of a long path, I suppose,
Go ahead, dude. Let's
as
go
it
down
goes
that
through
road.
life. But really, what I started with was like Blink-182 and Green Day, kind of that pop punk era in the early 2000s.
Nice.
I thought was pretty badass. Learned a lot of like chops and more of the logistical side of putting on a show at the church that I grew up at. Learned how to play to a metronome, watch for cues, stuff like that. So the live performance really came from there. And then as I started to get older, and expand my musical horizons, it just kind of really went all over the place, Slipknot, Lamb of God, Led Zeppelin, all the classic rock, Black Sabbath, just kind of,
Damn,
I was in a blues band for a while, so that was more of like a Cajun style. So getting into a lot more of that bluesy funk stuff too was a lot of fun. But I I really the only thing that I don't like follow is like hip hop, and I don't even hate hip hop, but I just love everything else.
See, somebody was like Corey Taylor. I heard the dude's an asshole in real life, but
Yeah,
he's a talented guy though, nonetheless.
yeah, I've heard that, and you know, like the Slipknot stuff too. I've kind of fallen off since Paul passed and Joey passed, and you know, it doesn't really feel like the same band anymore.
I honestly
Um,
prefer Joey and Murder Dolls.
Murder Dolls was sick too. I saw Wednesday 13, right? Is his buddy that he did that with?
Yep, Wednesday 13.
Um, yeah, he's coming through touring the Murder Dolls.
I have a buddy that played in the Murder Dolls.
Really?
Mm-hmm.
That's sweet.
AC Slade of Catfight Coffee. He also plays for Dope. He's played for Joan Jett and the Blackhearts.
That's cool.
He's been around.
Nice.
Tim has another question. What
Okay.
band do you think is underrated and should be listened to more often?
Ooh.
I got an answer for that.
Let's hear it, because I don't have one.
Frank Zappa.
Frank Zappa, and I haven't really dug into much Frank Zappa.
If we go old school, I'd say Frank Zappa.
Okay.
If we're gonna go modern, I would say the band Cane Hill.
Okay.
If you don't know who Cane Hill is,
not familiar with that. I'll have to check them out.
The best way to describe them, they started off. Frank Zappa's amazing, but they started off with kind of like the Slipknot vibes, and then they went pop.
Okay.
So they're like metal, pop, hard rock. Like they cover all bases, and they're fucking incredible.
That's cool. Lately, I've been getting into a lot more of like I don't know. I found it kind of cool. Like you hear about like Morgan Wallen and Ernest and Jelly Roll and kind of that whole loose clique of people in Nashville right now. But learning about the people that are behind that are helping with a lot of the writing, if not doing all of the writing. I think Hardy's doing a lot of really cool stuff right now. A lot of people have some mixed emotions about that, but I think that kind of country metal fusion is actually pretty sweet.
It is.
And I love just the fact that he like, I don't know, this is kind of maybe more of the business end of music that people scoff at, myself included, but I personally think it's pretty sweet that he just was able to hunker down, write some tunes, and make his money. And now he's just like, fuck it. What? I'm gonna put Morgan Wallen and Zakk Wylde on a tune together. Let's go. Like,
why not?
Yeah.
That I really liked. A lot of people hated it, but I really liked the stuff like Post Malone and Ozzy did together.
Yeah. Yeah, that was cool too. That was maybe a little bit more like vibey than I'd prefer. You know, like I'm a sucker for a real guitar, but good tunes nonetheless.
Great tunes. Tim has a lot of questions. Is there any advice that you would give to anyone that is aspiring to be a good musician?
Don't listen to people that tell you to get a real job.
Yep. Doesn't have to be a last question. You guys can ask whatever.
Yeah. Yeah. Keep them coming. No, but honestly, like I've always found that to be kind of pointless advice because I got to pay my rent anyways.
Yeah.
And like, it's my life. So whatever, if I want to stay up late and have a busy ass weekend and still have to go to work Monday through Friday, like that's what I'm going to do. I'm not doing it to make anyone happy but myself. Right.
Yeah.
So I guess to sum that up, keep on keeping on.
Yep. Kate motherfucking Savage, dear friend of mine as well. What advice would you give to someone who wants to follow their rock star dreams?
I think it'd be kind of the same thing, man. Just like keep trucking. It's a lot of practice. It's a lot more complicated these days with like social media and having to manage that engagement. And that's kind of the not so glorious part of it. But like,
so just do it.
Just do it, you know, and you're going to have to work as much as you're going to have fun. But once you're up on stage, it usually doesn't matter whether you're playing for 8 people or 8,000, you know?
See, you're only capable of what you do. You can't just sit at home and not do it. You have to do it in order for it to happen.
Yeah, everybody talks about like manifestation and following your dreams and whatever, but like there's real action you have to put behind that. So get out there, figure out what it is you need to do, find a mentor. We've been super lucky with people who have been in the industry in their own capacity and they just want us to succeed. Because we get along well and they like our music, and that's it.
You
So,
can only manifest so much. You just still have to do it, though. The universe
mhm.
ain't going to bless you if you don't do it or put in at least some of the effort
Yeah,
and work.
there's some real give and take that goes into that. And yeah, can't just come from nowhere. Work hard, man.
I'm gone. Okay, there we go. Do you believe in
Yep.
manifestation?
To a certain extent, like I said, I don't think you can just be like, "Oh, I want a Ferrari," and expect it to show up in your driveway. But if you're like, "Oh, I want a Ferrari,"
I'll
okay, how
work
much
for
does
it.
that cost? Yeah, okay, now what kind of plan can I put into motion to make that money? Open up a new savings account for it, whatever. Um,
So, what is
I,
the best? I think he's asking this
whatever.
for himself because we do live in a redneck type area. What is the best
Mhm.
way to find a rock/metal scene when you're in a like area that's like mostly country and
Yeah, so I mean, really, it's going to come down to kind of your local network. There can only be so many metalheads in an area once you're out in the boonies, I suppose. But um, if you can't find it, create it. Find a bar where the bar owner likes rock music and heavier music, and put on a show. Boost your Facebook ad, give it a little promotion, and people will come out of the woodwork. If it's not already there, it's because no one's trying to have it there. So be a pioneer, I suppose.
kind of do what I did with comedy. There's no comedy clubs where I live at, so I rented a gymnasium and we're doing
Yeah.
comedy there. Like, if you can't find it, make it.
What the fuck's up, Denny's?
Yeah, what is up, Denny's? Could you imagine fucking stand up comedy in a Denny's? Start fucking roasting people for
Oh,
no
dude, that would
reason.
be nuts.
Good old
We have
microphone.
a local bar that me and my girlfriend like to go to, and we just found out once a month they do a comedy open mic. And our neighbor wants to have their significant other, who does open mics frequently. Um, they're gonna get out there during the next open mic, and we're gonna just kind of show up for date night. Otherwise, he wouldn't sign up for it. But uh,
I've
kind of
been
stoked
nervous.
for that. I've been like getting into comedy more and more the last couple years, and I've been to one live comedy show, but this would be my first open mic to go check out.
See, I've been nervous to do open mics because they're like, you have 5 minutes, go. Like,
Yeah,
that's not enough time, in my opinion, to like tell a joke, let alone a set.
yeah. Do you
Like,
watch Kill Tony?
yes.
That is like a dream of mine. I don't even like have aspirations of being a comic, but like just to have one solid minute and happen to get that bucket pull one time would be so much fun. But I
Kill
feel like I'd also prepare it and then get
Kill
up there.
Tony has become like the American Idol of comics.
It really has, yeah.
Like, I've discovered a lot of comics through Kill Tony,
Hmm.
good and bad. I've seen some bad ones. Um,
Yeah, there are a few people too where they come out and they're like kind of funny, but they have whatever physical gimmick they might have, or
yeah,
not even. I feel bad calling it a gimmick if that's how you're born. But like, I feel like that's what it is when Tony sees it all of a sudden. Sometimes, and it's like,
there
okay,
is one comedian that uses their physical ailment to their advantage, and it is fucking hilarious. Ever watch Josh Blue?
Josh Blue, is he a Kill Tony guy or is he
No,
just
he was a
okay?
last comic standing guy. That's how long ago he started.
Okay, then I wouldn't be familiar. I remember seeing Last Comic Standing, but I never watched it.
What we call, well, I think I cut out again. Am I back?
I
Can you
can
hear
hear
me?
you. Yep,
Okay.
you're moving again.
He has what we call. Sorry for the technical difficulties. I'm having internet problems, but he had what we call cerebral palsy, where his hands like this,
Okay, yep.
and he is fucking hilarious because he not only makes fun of his disability, but he also and he's great because he's like, I found out my hand has a job, and he was like, it's like it does sign language. It's like apparently it speaks Spanish.
That's hilarious.
And like jokes like that. And
Yeah.
he also did a joke about how he's from South Africa. Like he was born in South Africa. Not he's from there, but he was born there.
Yep.
Which makes him African American.
I think I lost you again, Mike.
Are we back?
Yep.
Okay. He's like, I don't get pulled over for no reason, but when I do, I mess with him. He'll be like, did you pull me over? And the officer's like, yeah, do you know why I pulled you over? Because I'm African American. Like, no, that's not it.
That's not it.
It's because you were driving on the sidewalk. Like jokes like that.
Oh, that's awesome.
Watch him, bro. He's awesome. All right.
I will check him out.
Mark asked a question. What's your opinion on Slipknot firing their newest drummer already?
You know, I'd be really curious to hear more. 10 years is a good long run. I feel like if you're gonna live that life with someone, especially like those guys in Slipknot were well established when they brought Jay on board. So they knew what they were doing, is my point. And like they're gonna know pretty quick if I'm gonna be able to vibe with this dude for 200 days out of the year or not, if not more, right off the bat. And then
10 years already? Damn.
10 years, 3 albums, dude. And so I don't know. There's something more. Like obviously, I don't know. Some people speculated at first that like maybe Jay and his wife are having a kid, and he wanted to get off the road to raise his baby or something of that sort. I don't know that that's the case now that he's posted what he posted, which was basically like, "Hey guys, this sucks. I didn't see it coming, but if I didn't have this experience, I wouldn't know any of you guys. And like, thank you for your support, and can't wait to show you whatever I come up with next."
See, Slipknot is known for firing people shittily. Like, wasn't it Joey Jordison that got a singing telegram?
Oh, I didn't hear about that.
I think it was Joey that got a singing telegram telling him he's not in the band anymore.
What?
Yeah, I think it was Joey.
That's wild.
Yeah, I think Slipknot should have a new album called All Band Is Gone. Because there's only like 2 of them left.
Yeah, dude, it's nuts. And like, I don't know. I think Corey and Sean, if I ever meet you guys in person.
So technically, Sean's the only one left because Corey's not even the original singer.
I suppose that's true because there was another dude way before him. I don't know, man. I think they're just they're letting the whole thing kind of go to their head, and
they're becoming the next.
But also, I don't know. I'm not in the rooms with them. I've never met the guys, so
they're becoming the next Mushroom Head.
The next Mushroom Head? Well, they stole their gimmick from Mushroom Head to begin with.
Yeah, and then Mushroom Head turned around, and they are only have one original member. Okay, Ox is asking, which is my buddy Tim, if you could say one thing to your younger self when you were starting to play music, what would you say, and what would you do, and would you do anything different?
I think whatever I would say would be a note of encouragement, and I think as far as like actual advice goes, I would say learn more instruments. I was actually driving home from being up at a cabin this weekend, and at one point on the ride, I remembered randomly that I had a bass guitar when I was 10 years old.
Mm-hmm.
And I was like, man, like I really screwed up I don't know. I listened to the guys at band practice and they're like, oh yeah, this one's a half step down from C, blah, 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 whatever. And I was just like, yeah, I'll hit the fucking drums, which is great because it's less thinking for me to do. But at the same time, like when it comes down to writing and being creative and such, learn more instruments, don't just kind of pigeonhole yourself into one scenario. You'll always be able to get out of it, but it'll be maybe a little tougher when you're 30 than when you're 12.
Well, I've actually known people that learned instruments late in their life. Like,
Mm-hmm.
you can still learn. You can teach an old dog new tricks. Facebook
Oh, yeah.
user, I'm sorry if you're just tuning in. For some reason, Facebook will not show us names. So if you can put your name next to your comment, that'd be greatly appreciated. But love the stash. And I said the same thing. That
Well,
fucking,
thanks again.
that Fu Manchu, man, is something. You got to keep it.
Yeah, I think it's a permanent fixture. Even if I let the rest of it grow, I think I'm still going to keep these tips down.
Yeah, just the tips.
Just the tips.
Just the tips, ladies. Just the tips.
Yep.
Do you
Got
have,
3 of them.
We do. We all are born with 3 tips. Well, not all of us. Women aren't, unless they count the clitoris. Would you count the clitoris as the tip?
I think in this circumstance, they might even have. Yeah, they have 3.
Detachable. They have a detachable. Women are lucky and lesbians are lucky because they get to pick the size. Okay, question for me. Do I call it an afro, or I call it a bird's nest? What I've got going on. But is that what you'd call my hair, Collin? A bird's nest?
I think I'd roll with it for lack of a better guess.
See, Naomi's a really good guitarist right now, and she's started playing at 39.
Yeah. Well, and that goes for anything too. That movie, I think it was a Tarantino movie, Django Unchained.
That's a good movie.
And the dude that drives the tooth car that like frees Django and is like the whatever main character with him. I'm pretty sure it was either that or Inglourious Bastards was his like first movie at like 52 years old. He was like, I'm going to become an actor. And then happened to find himself in Tarantino land and made a whole career out of it in his 50s.
Rodney Dangerfield didn't start doing comedy again until he was 55.
That's wild.
He did stand-up when he was like 19 or 20. He never made it anywhere, so he retired, became a door-to-door vacuum salesman. And then he, at 55, decided to quit and try to get into comedy again. So he did a local radio station under the alias Rodney Dangerfield, who never got respect anywhere he goes.
That's cool.
Somebody, Facebook user will subscribe to you if you do your best metal scream.
Oh, boy. You sure you want that, buddy?
Go ahead. That sounded good.
Thank you.
Yeah, I can't do it.
There you go.
That's all I can do.
That was solid. Actually, so I'm like infamously not a singer in the band for a multitude of reasons, mainly alcohol. But I did, when we were recording this album, there's a track called, I think it's on Chains, which is like the heaviest tune on the record. And I started doing like this, just fucking around in the studio. I haven't done that in a while. It made the track. So I told the guys, I was like, you better make sure I get my freaking vocal credits when we print these CD sleeves.
You want to hear something
kind of pretty serious deal now.
You know how my brain works by now. I have ADHD and shit. I got a little too medicated around a campfire, and now I'm a member of a hip hop group.
Nice.
And we're working on a comedy concept album. It's going to be a hip hop.
Someone just knocked on my front door. I don't know who it is.
It's the Raven. Quote him nevermore.
It's the neighbor. Hey, I'm on a podcast right now. Can I? She's working. I'll have her text you. All right.
Is it your neighbor hitting on your wife again?
Yeah, I can't keep him away.
At least somebody's keeping the wife happy.
Yeah. Someone's got to do it.
Hey, what up, Lily? How you doing, darling?
Hey, Lily.
I hope you're having a lovely day as well. If you have any questions for Collin, we are going to be on here for probably another 5 minutes. How's that sound?
Perfect.
Thank you, Mark. You are incredible. You're quite amazing. Sadly, this is one of our last episodes of Pink Sock for a little while, but if you enjoy my content, I'm going to be on WTHC Radio. All you have to do is download the Live 365 app. We're going to be on there. It's great. It's been fun. I've been doing the Saturday show, and I've been doing their morning show occasionally, and it's been a real treat. It's a lot of fun to be on there and chat. There's a lot of great people over there, and I think you guys would enjoy the change of pace. I enjoy that it's not mine anymore. It's not something that I have to I'm still working my ass off, but it's not something that I have
You get to be a part of it rather than be the driving force.
Yeah, than be the driving force.
Yep.
We do have Eek Coffee. Eek Coffee, we just pre-recorded it. It is next week, but this is going to be one of our last live episodes. So, Collin, how do you feel being one of our last live guests?
I feel honored. I appreciate it. Thanks for having me back, too, actually.
Of course.
I love this podcast, man.
What was the issue with the issue?
There were a few different ones. One thing that management expressed to us was that like radio stations don't always pay the most attention to those details. So like the issue, usually if you have the in your name, they drop the, so then it would just get entered as issue. So like tracking royalties and such, whatever, all that baloney. Could get pretty hairy in that regard, not to mention the band Issues, which is a different sound, a different era, a different band altogether. But at the end of the day, someone still holds that trademark. So they were like, you might want to consider that and play it safe. And then we were kind of going through all this, and I was actually chatting with our attorney. And I was like, so what's like the scope of this situation here? And he's like, well, it's going to be this much to apply, and it's this much for me to apply for you. And I was like, okay, that's a lot more than we were expecting. And I was like, what are the odds that we get the trademark approved? And he put it at about like 30%. And I was like, okay, well, we were trying to like stick it out and hold as the issue for as long as possible. But once we kind of figured that out, we might have to spend that money twice and still figure out a new band name. It was like, all right, let's just bite the bullet and get this done with before it becomes a real issue.
It's understandable. And also, Lily, no hard feelings. I mean, people get busy, and there's still much love on this end. I don't mind people listening later on or just checking it out. You can find Rogue Royale's music on Spotify. I do believe all the issue stuff is under Rogue Royale now.
Yeah, yep, it's Rogue. So Rogue Royal.
I don't know why I say Royale. It sounds a little like
I kind of wanted Royale. We decided against the E at the end there. But Rogue Royal, we did convert everything over. So like the old stuff that we released as the issue, the artist name will be Rogue Royal, but the album artwork will still be the same as it has been with the issue title on there. So, and that's everywhere: Spotify, Amazon Music. We got a YouTube channel, Rogue Royal Official, Apple Music. I think there might have been a kink in getting the stuff converted, but so I will double check on that, and I'll update it in the comments afterwards.
Mark did have a question before we leave, but he didn't put the question in the comments yet. So Mark, just leave questions. You don't have to tell us you got one. You can just leave the questions. We will get to it. But I have a lot of fun having you on here because we have a lot of similar tastes and stuff. Like, if I'm not mistaken, you're also a Star Wars fan.
Yes, I am. I think we talked a lot about Star Wars lore last time.
We did. That's why I didn't really get into it this time. But have you gotten to check out any of the TV series on Disney Plus yet? Because I haven't.
I haven't. We had a friendly login for a while that we got logged out and haven't got logged back in yet to Disney Plus. So when that does happen, I'm stoked. I think even is like The Mandalorian, did that get finished?
I believe
Is that like
so.
done? I think I watched through like the second season of that, and then after that I kind of fell off.
Yeah, I fell off. I need to watch it again. I know another series that I love, Child's Play, came out with a new season recently, and then
Okay.
and then there's so much TV to watch that I get overwhelmed and I just don't watch any of it.
That's the thing, dude. You know how many major streaming services and then all the small ones and like
I get overwhelmed with it because I want to watch it all, and then I'm like, I just won't watch any of it. There's just too much.
It gets crazy. I'm just waiting like what I would assume in the next like 3 to 5 years there's gonna be and whatever. I guess if somebody steals this idea from me, then I should have kept my mouth shut. But like some sort of it's gonna be $100 a month and it's gonna be a login that allows you to log into all of the other streaming services that you want. So you're paying one big lump fee and you have all these other services logged in and it's gonna be like, why didn't we just like stick to cable, man?
I had a feeling this was going to happen because every company is making their own streaming service now.
Yeah, it's pretty lame.
You know what I'm confused about is due to them still having a copyright for their name, due to them still having a company, why don't Blockbuster do that?
Yeah, I don't know. You'd think.
Like they're still around. There's still a Blockbuster in Bend, Oregon.
Yep. That's the last one, isn't it?
The last one. I want to go.
Yeah.
I actually want, if my comedy takes off enough to do this, don't steal this idea, anyone out there. I want to do a stand-up comedy special in the last Blockbuster and promote it on Netflix.
No, dude, you got to hit up Blockbuster and see if you can open up their streaming platform with this. That would be hilarious. And you're picking me up in Minneapolis along the way.
Yeah, we're going. We are going to the last Blockbuster. We're going to have you guys actually open the comedy show.
There you go. That sounds good.
So, Mark, did you have a question in the chat before we go? Because we are about ready to wrap things up. I know, Mark.
Yeah, I feel like, did he ask the question after he said that? I kind of saw it coming through out of the corner of my eye.
I don't know if I saw it or not because he said, I have a question. He said, I love the channel. He said, don't stop. And then he said, I have a question. That's the only 3 comments I'm seeing on my end.
Okay. Yeah, and I can't even go back to him on mine.
No, I don't see it. Noami, you see it? No, there's no question.
No? Okay.
No, we're good. I was hoping we didn't miss it. So, Mark, are you still listening, brother? Because we're going to give it about 2 more minutes for him to answer.
Yeah, I got time. I'm not rushing out.
I've got time on my hands. Time is
Naomi.
so beautiful. What's up? We can't hear you though, Naomi.
I'm unmuted. Hi, Collin. You all right?
Hey, good. Yeah, how are you?
Oh, I've got a cold.
Uh-oh, that's no fun.
I had a viral infection there for a while, Naomi. There's something going around.
There is, definitely, yeah. So, yeah, that's why I was staying backstage, helping with the comments. And I'll come on for the last few minutes of the show, the last show.
There you go.
Did you get
I'm glad to see you.
Did you get the old nasal cotton swab yet to see if you got the vid or the flu or whatever?
It was a throat swab, the PCR test.
Okay, ours is still a nose swab.
Yeah, I have to have them done for work. If anybody has cold symptoms, we have to have a test.
Okay, you just came back negative, I assume?
Yeah, but it's a cold. Yeah.
Yeah, I went to my doctor's. They gave me the nose swab for the flu and COVID and a throat swab because I guess strep throat has been going around and I don't have any of that shit.
No.
That's good.
It was weird because I was really, really sick for a day or 2 and now I'm just like exhausted and like...
Yeah, the same,
not feeling myself. I'm not feeling myself. Well, I mean, I did earlier, but that's a different kind of situation.
Yeah.
I actually saw a shirt at Hot Topic, I think. No, it was Spencer's. It said, "I'm not feeling myself. Will you feel me?"
That's a good one.
I love that shirt. Collin, I'd love to have you on WTHC radio sometime.
Dude, that would be fun. I would be honored.
Promote your music. Just send me whatever music you...
Uh-oh.
Oh, Mike's frozen.
Sorry, I froze.
All good.
Just send your music over to my email. You got it, right?
I believe so. If I don't, I will get it from you afterwards.
All right. Well, Lily, you too, dear. Much love to you, and I hope life has been fantastic.
Have a good day, Lily.
Lily is a good friend of mine. She's such a sweetheart. I enjoy the fact that our paths crossed. But guys, you have a lovely rest of your day. And if that question does come through while we're off the air, I apologize, and I'll ask him for you after the fact. Much love, guys.
I kept having a look and it hadn't come up.
No, and I gave it plenty of time, so I don't think he's even listening anymore.
Yeah. Well, if you get something after, I'm happy to.
Okay, brother. Much love. Thank you, Collin, for swinging by. Thank you for asking to be back on.
Yeah, thank you for coming
Thanks
back
for having me back.
I
love chatting with you guys. So
love chatting. And as always, live long, rock hard, guys.
Live long, rock hard.
Live long, rock hard.